Working capital cycle. What do you mean by working capital cycle?
Cycle.
Time duration required for which conversion of cash into cash equivalent. Thereafter back into cash. Thereafter back into cash is called working capital. First listen, okay? Time duration required for which conversion of cash into cash equivalent, thereafter back into cash. Then here working capital cycle represent the time duration. Time duration represent what is the meaning of the time duration? With a great difficulty you are going to procure the fund to do the business. I have procured the fund. After procuring the fund, what I have to do? I have to invest in the business. If I am going to invest in the business, before I am going to invest, I have to do cost benefit analysis. With respect to cost benefit analysis, if I am going to invest the fund in long term or short term, that I have to identify. Because to do the business, I have to invest the fund in short term as well as long term. Both I have to invest. If I am going to invest the fund in long term, before I am going to invest, I have to do cost benefit analysis. That cost benefit analysis is called capital budgeting, also called investment decision. If I am going to invest in short term, then it is called working capital. Now, the great difficulty I procure the fund. Short term I have to invest, nothing but what? I am going to invest the fund for the purpose of procurement of raw material. So the so-called cash is now called raw material. What I have to do with the raw material? I have to convert the raw material into finished product. In between raw material and finished product, in between is called what? WIP. So cash become raw material become WIP, WIP going to become finished goods. What I have to do with the finished goods? I have to sell. Till I am going to sell. If I am going to sell, what will happen? Debtor will come. After sales, debtor has happened. What I have to do? I have to collect the cash. Again coming back to cash. What I have to do with the cash? I have to invest in raw material. Raw material become WIP, WIP become finished goods become debtor going to become cash. It's one cycle. That's why it's called working capital cycle, operating cycle, business cycle, cash cycle. These are all the alternate names for working capital cycle. Now I am having cash. I want to invest the cash. I want to purchase raw material. Immediately not possible. I have to wait for some time. Why wait for one time? I am going to make a call. I am going to place an order to purchase the raw material. It will need some time. No, 1 or 2 days they will be there to get the raw material. So the time gap is called lead time. LEAD. Lead time. Lead time we are discussing EOQ also, in material costing also. Same time gap between date of order and the date of receipt of goods is called lead time. So I procure the raw material. I am going to invest the raw material. I am having the cash. I am going to purchase the raw material. The time gap is called lead time. Raw material is going to become fully finished product. It needs some time for the purpose of processing time. That is in the for the purpose of manufacturing processing in the factory. Therefore, that is called process cycle, also called production cycle. Now I produce the product. I have to sell the product to the customer. Till I am going to sell the product, I have to hold the raw material in a good condition. Hold the finished goods in the good condition. I have to keep the raw material in the good condition. Keep the finished goods in the good condition. Therefore, still I am going to hold the finished goods in the good condition. That is called stock holding period. I am holding the stock. That's why it's called the stock holding period. Then I have sold the product. After selling the product, I have to collect the money from the customer. Therefore, from debtor to cash, it needs some time. That is called the average collection period. Therefore, raw material become WIP. That time gap is called the lead time. Cash become raw material. The time gap is called the lead time. Raw material become WIP and finished goods. The time gap is called process or production cycle. Finished goods become debtor. That time gap is called stock holding period. Debtor is going to become cash. Again, it's called what? Average collection period. That is called what? Average collection period. So, these are all called segments in operating cycle. Segments in operating cycle represent lead time, process or production cycle, stock holding period, average collection period. There are 4 segments are there in the operating cycle. How to compute operating cycle? It's a time duration period, no? We have to express the operating cycle in terms of days or months. How many days or how many months you have to express. How to compute? Formula for operating cycle is raw material plus WIP plus finished goods plus debtor minus creditor. That answer is called what? Operating cycle. Everything in days or months. Raw material how many days? WAP period how many days? The time period you have to compute. The time period calculation is called raw material plus WAP plus finished goods plus debtor minus creditor is called operating cycle. Then we have to compute number of operating cycle. How to compute number of cycles in a year? 1 year is equal to 365 days. 365 divided by operating cycle is equal to number of operating cycle. Throughout the financial management, always remember 1 year is equal to 365 only, there is no doubt. But for the purpose of rounding of figure, for the purpose of getting round answer, many occasion in examination, in question paper, they may give 160 days in a year. If specifically 160 days given in this question, then you can take 160. If it is not specifically given, 1 year is equal to 365 only you have to take for all the formula. Not only for the working capital management, including for the ratio analysis, everywhere 1 year is equal to 365 days only you have to take. If specific information is there, then you can take for 360 days. Are you comfortable? So operating cycle computation comfortable or not? Clear?